How's it going? It's time to talk about one of my favorite old school games from back in the day, Splatterhouse, a classic hardcore horror-themed beat-em-up developed and released by Namco as an arcade unit in 1988. It later then received multiple home console ports, as well as 2 sequels years later, and also that one modern adaptation of the series, but let's not talk about that one, please, no thank you. Splatterhouse is seen by many to be one of Namco's most influential game series created. I say one of because Namco is responsible for quite a few of the most important games ever made. Pac-Man, Galaga. Damn. Splatterhouse was led by Namco employee Hiroshi Yokoyama, who had to have been quite the horror fan, as there are all kinds of old school horror movie tropes throughout this thrilling adventure. I mean, just look at Rick, the main protagonist. Who does he remind you of? Well, now that we're talking about Rick, we should probably start discussing the game's story, though there isn't much of one. This is alright though, because the articulation of said story works and was a genius marketing strategy at that. A few months leading up to the release of Splatterhouse for the turbo-graphix 16 were these comic strip ads that were in all of the popular computer, gaming, and toy magazines at the time. As you can read right here, Rick and Jennifer are exploring an abandoned, creepy mansion that everyone in their local town refers to as the Splatterhouse. Rick wakes up sometime later and notices he has the terror mask on his face, which is a magical mask that grants him an enormous amount of strength, which is awfully convenient seeing as how Jennifer has been abducted by the monsters and ghouls residing in the Splatterhouse, and it's up to Rick to go and save her. What a great idea of advertisement. It's kind of hard to determine how effective this specific ad may have been, but I know that every time I read this comic strip, it gets me fired up and eager to go kick some giant deformed fetus ass. And with that, now let's talk about the gameplay. Oh, the gameplay. It's really good. Splatterhouse does a good job mixing the beat-em-up genre with the platformer. Most beat-em-up genres are strictly that in nature. Walk to one confined part of the level that is filled with enemies for you to fight, rinse and repeat until the very end. And most platformers usually focus on running and jumping through obstacles, with enemies being more of a secondary threat. But in Splatterhouse you do both, having to duck, run, jump, punch, slash, and shoot your way through the game's 7 stages, which are all well built and filled with creepy, difficult enemies, swinging floor blades, this hand thing, and many more. Oh, and we can't forget to talk about the boss battles. Hot damn! The only word I have to describe the boss fights in this game, iconic. Except this one. I mean, I get that severed heads that are floating in the air chasing after you is a really cool and creepy concept for a horror-themed video game on paper, but in practice here it just looks very lame and less threatening compared to, I don't know, Edward Chainsaw Hands? Dude, that's freaky! All I have to say about this enemy is what the hell, Japan? What the hell? Alright, now let's talk about the difficulty. Splatterhouse isn't one of those NES hard games per se, but it certainly doesn't hold your hand. You're given 5 hearts, 3 lives, and 5 continues, which I initially thought was way too generous and would make the game a breeze, but... Why? Oh. I was happily mistaken. Splatterhouse's difficulty curve is excellent. The first 2 stages of the game do a really good job introducing you to the mechanics, not throwing anything too crazy at you. But by the time you reach Act 3, you're gonna start having some problems. I was able to get to the Stage 5 boss after a few tries, but I had used all of my continues, and so each time I got to the Stage 5 boss, I kept dying and having to start all the way over from the beginning of the game. Until I finally beat the Stage 5 boss after about 5 solid playthroughs, and whew, damn satisfying to see that asshole go Jennifer? All in all, you guys, Splatterhouse is one of the most important and influential video games to come out of the horror genre, and it holds up really well to this day. It's a must-play for any beat-em-up fan. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload new videos every week, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys could check out some of my other videos. I plan on doing more retro games like this one, but I also do modern games, like this Breath of the Wild video. Alright guys, but most importantly, go play some hard games.